guys, and welcome to Let's Talk. Today we have a special guest, Joshua. Joshua, thank you so much for being on my channel. Could you just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and about your YouTube channel?
Yeah. So my name is Joshua. I'm a content creator here in London, UK. And my YouTube channel is basically based upon like faith-based content and really just going about it in my life as well. So yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for being on my channel. Today we're going to talk about prayer and the power of prayer. So before we begin, I thought it would be kind of cool to tell our viewers, like, what is prayer to you?
Um, well, really prayer to me is kind of just like talking to God, like,
Mhm.
um, and whether you want to ask him anything or come to him with an issue, like, it's really just having that conversation with God and, yeah, just having a nice, like, a talk with him.
Yeah, like I totally agree. I think it's more like more like a communication, even though like we can't see God,
Yeah,
but prayer just makes us know that like even though we can't see God, like we know that that He's listening to us.
yeah.
So what is your favorite Bible story that shows the power of prayer?
Well, I think my favorite one has to be about Daniel
Oh
because
yeah, that's a good
obviously Daniel, he prayed for 21 days and then that's when
one.
obviously he would break through the king. And it really just showed how, once you're persistent in prayer and once you're, constant in prayer, then like things will change, things will happen. Because obviously, like you said, God is always he's listening. So
Mhm.
there will be a change that does happen.
Yeah, I definitely like Daniels and Lions Den as well. Like, imagine being thrown with lions. Like, of course, like you better be on your knees, like praying.
Exactly.
Right? I really like that story. I would say my favorite one would have to be Esther, just because there's not a lot of women in the Bible, and like Esther, she for me is like such a big example of a woman who had like lots of prayer.
Yeah,
Because like she had to go in front of the king, and back then like you can't just go in front of the king, you have to be invited, and in the Bible it said like she prayed and fasted for 3 days before
yeah.
she went. So like she's like for me as a woman like a big icon of someone who was like very powerful in prayer. So have you ever prayed for something and it didn't happen?
Yeah, I think it was actually this year to be honest. I was praying that I got my driver's license. I was saying, Lord, and then my driving license, and then it didn't really happen. And at first, I kind of felt a bit disappointed, but then after a while, I started to think like, okay, maybe the driving license might have been a distraction from what he actually wanted me to be focusing on, which is um, actually my actual degree. So yeah, after a while, I was a bit disappointed, but I kind of started to see it in a different way, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. For me, I would have to say, it was for this job. I had applied for this job for 4 times and I never got it. And then my sister goes and she applies once. They don't even give her an interview. She gets the job automatically. And then I applied 2 times after that to the same place. And up to now, I still haven't been hired. So I prayed to God a lot about the job because, like, honestly, like I go to school, like I need money to pay for like books or whatever.
Yeah.
And um, right now in my spiritual life, I haven't really seen why God hasn't answered my prayer in that like aspect. But I know like one day, like I'll understand like why He didn't answer my prayer. So I guess it's just like as we go along in our life, just realizing that like yes, God answers our prayers and He does understand, but sometimes He knows what's best for our lives, and we just have to trust Him, I guess.
Yeah.
So what about mental health? Do you think prayer can help people with like mental health?
Yeah, I think it can, to be honest, because I feel like we were saying before, it's like that communication, and a lot of the time
Mhm.
with mental health, um, the reason why people maybe go deeper into it is because they don't really have anyone to talk to about it.
Mhm.
So if we understand that, we have a God who talks to you, lay everything down before, and even in His Word, He has solutions for us.
I know one of my favorite Bible texts is like First Peter 5 verse 7. It says like cast all your cares upon him, all your anxieties and everything. And
Yeah,
like a lot of things like with people with mental health, like they go through like they have anxiety, they have like depression, they have like low self-worth. But like Jesus said, like you can cast all your cares upon me and I care for you. And like just when you're
yeah,
going through like many different mental health avenues, just knowing that someone cares for you can like alleviate like all the stress that you're going through. So I guess just like finding Bible verses that like give you comfort and can help you with your mental health. So what are some tips that you can give someone or like our viewers out there to help strengthen their prayer life?
I think really to help strengthen your prayer life, you have to be quite intentional about it. So obviously,
Mm,
there's a lot of stuff that's happening nowadays, and it's very easy for us to get caught up in work or caught up in whatever. But just making sure that you set time aside so that you say, okay, this time we're gonna pray to God, or even if it's like just in your free time, to say, okay, let me just quickly pray and
mhm,
speak to God. Then it builds that relationship a bit more stronger, and you feel God's presence like whenever you're going places. So
mhm,
yeah, I think it's just being intentional and just understanding that he's listening, like he is listening. So like because obviously we can't see him, it's so like difficult to understand who he is, but he really is listening.
mhm. Yeah, I totally agree as well. There's this Bible verse that I want to read. It was John 16, verse 23 to 24. Oh, yeah. At that time, you wouldn't need to ask me for anything. I tell you the truth. You will ask the Father directly, and he will grant your request because you use my name. You haven't done this before. Ask using my name, and you will receive, and you will have with abundant joy. So here, like, God is willing and waiting for us to ask him.
Yeah,
And like as you said, like you just have to like even if you're new to like praying, just like try maybe pray once a day or like twice a day. And like over time, when you get used to talking to God, like you'll become better at it. So yeah, I guess like that's like a little tip that I have.
um, I guess yeah. I mean, like you were saying, like after a while you get quite good at it because I grew up with parents who like they pray. Like they pray like
Hmm.
hours on end, and for me, I'm just like, oh, like that's a lot. But once I started to maybe pray for 5 minutes and through to 10 minutes, and then even over time, you feel yourself wanting to pray more,
Hmm.
wanting to speak to him more, and yeah, it's just it's a journey, and
Yeah.
obviously you just have to continue growing and growing, and God's gonna help you do that anyway. So yeah,
Yeah, I think it's for me like I started like comparing myself to like other people who used to pray, like pastors. Sometimes like you'd be on like on your knees for like it feels like hours. I'm just like, damn, I could never pray like that. Like I could never like just keep on going and going and going and going.
yeah,
But like sometimes like when you're really in like a deep place and like you're just praying to God, like and you're just like pouring your soul out for him. Sometimes like you might pray to him for like a long time, but I think like the number thing, like don't compare your prayer life to like other prayer life because your relationship with God is like individual. And sometimes like praying doesn't always have to be like on your knees. Sometimes, you can just like cry out to God in your head. So thank you so much, Joshua, for being able to be on my channel today. I hope you guys did learn something about the power of prayer. And if you guys did like this video, please like and don't forget to subscribe. And we'll talk next week.